GT Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get involved!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson.
Unbelievable finish!
It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air, we are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Aloma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Low. 4 wide at the stripe. For Audie's win here on this outside line. Neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron. Drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
At a time where everything that ever was is being cancelled, we remain untouchable from reality in the virtual world of iRacing. It's time for the 5th week of the NASCAR iRacing series, coming to you today from the largest cookie cutter in Atlanta, Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's the Friday night strength of field at 9 PM Eastern Time. We've had 4 winners in the first 4 weeks. Will we make it 5 from 5? Let's find out as we go live, green to checkers, right here on the iRacing Esports Network, and brought to you by SimSpeed TV. As always, my name's Ryan Jones. I'm joined tonight by Samuel Ryman beside me, and of course, Jay Kennedy behind the scenes as well. And Sam, Atlanta, it's a bumpy track, it's an abrasive surface, tyre wear is going to be higher than some of the other mile-and-a-halfers on the calendar, easy to miss your line, easy to make a mistake, but these drivers are the best of the best. Should be a good race today.
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. I know Atlanta, as well as many other 1.5 mile speedways out there, get a reputation as being a cookie cutter racetrack, but they're all unique in their own way. And the thing that's really unique about Atlanta is it's fast. There's just something about the circuit, the way it's built with the banking out there, that makes these cars go really fast. It is no stranger to very close finishes across the finish line. Yeah, it is a cookie cutter circuit. It's 1.5 miles around. We'll be doing 166 laps here tonight. 163 laps here tonight, with 36 cars signed up at the top of several splits going on. A massive turnout here tonight for Atlanta. People love racing at this track, and hopefully we're about to get a great show.
Some more Coke Joes have turned up after just having 1 or 2 of them last week. Ray Alfalla has made his return, along with Chris Shearburn. I believe Ryan Doucette's in the Coke Series. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jimmy Mullis, I know he's in it. Zach Novak. Harrison Lyon, I believe that's the second account for Nathan Lyon, who's in the Coke Series. But we got a few. Graham A. Boland is in here as well. So, quality field once again. And I remember at Auto Club, our last sort of oval on the calendar, we went to ISM last week, which is more of a triangle than anything. and we had 10 Coke drivers in the top 10 at one stage during the race, which was quite a spectacle. There were 3 and 4 wide for most of that one. Probably going to see more of the same today, although because of the nature of this particular track, we probably won't see quite as close racing for as long as we did at Auto Club, so that being much more of a larger, wider track too. We should certainly see some pack racing, certainly off the starts here.
Yeah, and right now all the drivers are out there getting their qualifying laps in. We got a couple minutes left of the session. Blake Neer is currently your provisional pole sitter. As you can see the times on the left-hand side of the screen. This is an open setup series, of course, so that's why you might see some drivers struggling a little bit for pace, some drivers who have really got their setup in gear, but we'll find out how... You might not necessarily be quick at the start here today, Ryan, and also quick at the end. Because this track surface is so abrasive, I'm wondering if a driver with the best long run setup may end up being the one taking home a checkered flag tonight.
Certainly, I was speaking to, I believe, our Souls shown in the field. Yep. Matt Danson, who's one of Australia's best, and he was talking to me about the setup he's got. For those cars and their setup for the long run, and he's in Legacy Esports. So that's a team with a Coke Series driver in, not a Coke Series driver, a Pro Series driver, in Braden Boulos. So they're a very knowledgeable team, and yeah, long run's definitely the key. And we've seen in the first 4 races this season. I don't know if you've been watching, Sam, or not. No hard feelings if you haven't been. But we've had long runs for the majority of the races, just a couple of cautions scattered in throughout the races. So I definitely think long run is going to be the key today.
Yeah, but who knows? iRacing has green-white checkers now. That's not necessarily a new thing. I think it came around about a year or so ago. Yeah. So that's always a possibility that we could have, the driver who's best for the short runs winning this thing at the end of it. Whenever you get the late caution for whatever reason, you always get more than one of them, don't you? But still got some cars wrapping up qualifying in the final moments of qualifying. No one's got near Blake Neer yet. Jake Matheson sitting 300ths of a second back, and the cars disappear. The checkered flag is out, and we're ready to go racing.
Let's go through the starting grid then for Week 5, the NASCAR iRacing Series. Pole position for Blake Neer and Jake Matheson outside row 1. Ryan Doucette and Will Norton line up off of row 2 ahead of Garrett Maines and Sean Disbrow 5th and 6th. Timu Toika and Michael Jean starting 7th and 8th. Top 10 rounded out by Seth Knoll and Trevor Perry.
Yes, and then starting in 11th position, we have Alex McCollum. Behind him will be Matt Danson starting in 12th place, and Brian Mercurcio is down in 13th. Max Cookson will be starting for 14th place ahead of Donovan Strauss and Blake Trewick. Wesley Pistol is the last driver who turned a time. A lot of drivers opting not to turn a lap in qualifying, starting with the number 2 car of Ray Alfala. He'll be starting from 18th place ahead of Ryan Kuhn and Chris Shearburn.
21st belongs to Jimmy Mullis. Femi Olat starting next to him. Brendan McKissick starts in 23rd with Taylor Hurst alongside. Jose Solis Jr., Zach Novak off of row 13 ahead of Harrison Lyon is iRacing's bugging out of me. Zach Novak 26th. Then Andrew Schwartz actually behind him. And Adam Jocelyn 28th. Zach Hudson and Graham A. Bolin rounding out the top 30. Field rounded out by Eduardo Oliveira. Mason Stivler, Dustin Johnson, Brendan Wilkinson, Jake Hickson, and then comes Harrison Lyon back in 36, rounding out the field. What about the weather conditions for this one, Sam?
Quite hot. We're in Georgia, and it's... let's see, what does iRacing think of this? Oh, iRacing thinks it's only the middle of March, but still, we're in Georgia in the middle of the afternoon, so the track temperature is hot. The track surface when iRacing scan this, a little bit old, so there will be tire wear. That is definitely going to play a factor today, and we've already talked about it. There may be some drivers who are very strong early on in this race in the short run, but is that a disguise? You know, are they going to drop back in the long run and burn out their equipment?
Well, a lot of questions before we start this one then. This is pretty much the only form of motorsport that seems to be happening right now. Of course, our thoughts with everyone that's been affected by the rapid spread of the coronavirus right around the world, affecting everyone from down here in Australia to up there in North America and everywhere in between. But thankfully, we get some reprieve in iRacing. We can go about our business. We can continue our hobby that we are so thrilled to do week in, week out. And hey, maybe we'll get some real drivers. We can convince them to come race with us. Because they've got to keep those racing wits sharp somehow. But it's not going to happen for them in their regular series in the not too distant future. But nonetheless, in front of a crowd of 100,000 virtual fans, you won't see this anywhere in the world. We get ready to go green under the sun in Georgia. Field going to be led to that green by Blake Neer as the pace car dives down out of 4. Green flag in the air up on the flag stand, and we're racing. And look at Garrett Maines, already aggressive on the back of Ryan Doucette as we get underway. And it's a good job there for Blake Neer.
Yeah, an aggressive move by Garrett, an aggressive move by Ryan as well to defend him. But fortunately, these are very high-quality drivers at the front of the field here. In fact, throughout the field, and they knew when to back off. But not backing off right now is Ryan Doucette. He has a nice run. He's going down the inside of turn 3, looking for the early lead.
Sold the dummy almost to Blake Neer. Looked to the outside, then threw his machine down to the inside. Wasn't able to complete the move through 3 and 4. And in fact, Blake Neer just about going to clear him. Not quite. Doucette keeps that nose up there for turn 1. Big push from Garrett Maines, who's getting a bit loose on those cold tyres behind him. Goes for a slide down to the infield. He goes, gathers it up. Going to lose a bunch of positions, though. Going to go backwards as Sean Disbrow goes by him. Now he's side by side with... side by side with Disbrow. It was Alex McCollum that went by them. So Maines goes backwards.
Yeah, and he got a bit of help. He was rubbing fenders with another car coming out of a second corner, and that helped get him sideways a little bit. A nice save there already in just 2 laps. These drivers have had a couple of hairy calls up at the front, but able to show why they're the top drivers, why they're in the top split, and keep their cars pointing in the right direction.
Pretty close here for 6th place. Seth Knoll under a lot of pressure from McCollum. And then Garrett Maines, who looks high, and he's looking aggressive early on, even with that little moment. He's looking to be aggressive to get back through the field here as McCollum checks up top. Knoll checked up there. McCollum will go through, and Maines will get to his inside and follow him. So Garrett Maines has got plenty of pace in that number 1 machine in the field. See if he can execute it to complete the move, which he will do relatively easily. Moves up in front of McCollum there. And behind them, Sean Disbrow goes by Knoll as well. Seth Knoll just stuck on the outside at the moment, going backwards a little bit here.
The minimum speed these cars are carrying through the corners right now on these fairly new tyres is about 180 miles an hour. So this track, you definitely need to keep your car in check. You need it functioning well aerodynamically. So the fact that Garrett Maines is still able to make passes after that little bit of early contact shows me that he seems to have gotten off lucky, gotten off well, and as we just saw, he's wasted no time charging his way back up to the front of the field.
Just noticed Max Cookson now has moved himself up into 11th place in the back of Knoll. He won last time out at ISM Raceway. Let's see if he can back up that form this week. At the moment, our top 10 have not won a race in this particular time slot this season, so that 5 from 5 looking good in the early stages. Only lap 7 over 160. In terms of the strategy for this one, in terms of fuel, we expect them to go at a very, very minimum 50 laps, somewhere upwards of around 60 laps we suspect before they pit. Put the race into a nice even 2-stop strategy. If you pit around lap 50, 51-ish, 50, 55 even, would do 2 stops pretty nicely from there if it went green.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to see in strategy here, Ryan. Do these drivers think it's going to go green the whole way, or that we're going to have a mostly clean race? Because if they do you chance a three-stop strategy and pit every 40 laps because the tire fall off is so much? I'm not sure what the answer to that is going to be. Obviously, you do run the risk of going a lap down if you take a stop under green flag and nobody else does, and the caution comes out. But it's easy to get a one lap back in NASCAR racing nowadays. You can do it with a wave around. You can do it with a lucky dog. I don't know. I'm hoping we get some long green flag runs in naturally, so that we can see what kind of cards get played.
Just riding on board with Max Cookson, that's Rael Fowler in front of him, who's just completed the move on Cookson, who's actually got Brendan McKissick right up behind him as well, just fallen off 3-4. But our Fowler now is starting to look aggressive on to the back of Brian Mercurio in front of him for 11th place. Right up in front of them, Donovan Strauss right behind Seth Knoll and Sean Disgrove were going side by side out of the second corner as, Strauss got that car hanging out sideways out of the corner, gathered it up though, but another sign, the tyres are well and truly up to temp now. Now it's a matter of grip, and there's not much of it out there.
Yeah, you mentioned Rael Fowler there. He is our highest driver in the field that didn't turn a lap in qualifying. He started back in 18th. He's worked his way up into 12th. Other big movers have been Jose Solis Jr. He's gone from 25th to 15th. And also Graham Bolin has been bowling his way through the field, I guess you could say, 30th up to 18th in the opening 10 laps.
Look at Donovan Strauss, 3 wide, almost out of 4. And I don't know how that wasn't an incident. He was riding that left rear quarter panel of Seth Knoll's machine, gathers it up, loses a spot, might lose 2 now as Rael Fowler gets down to his inside. Behind them, they're side by side as well. That's Brendan McKissick and Jose Solis Jr. going down the back straight. Jr. backs out of it, goes behind McKissick now, and they single file themselves out as Sean Disbrow will lose out to Knoll up front. And this is an angry little pack of cars here, all battling away for P8 in this one.
Yeah, and of course, the problem with battling in these kind of conditions is that's just going to do your tyres in even worse and cost you time in the long run. Obviously, we're watching all this exciting racing in the middle of a field, and rightfully so, because there's not much to watch up front. Blake Neer is holding on to about half a second lead over Ryan Duchette at the front of the field. But it is worth noting that even Blake Neer's lap times, even though he's been unchallenged for that lead, he's got clean air on the front grille of that Ford Mustang. He is running already a second a lap slower than what he was at the start of this race.
Yep, I'm just lap 14, so drop off going to be well over probably 2 seconds by the time we get down to pit stop phase. Timu Toika always seems to be a fan favourite whenever we talk about him. I'm sure if Sean here, he'd be screaming out, what is it, Jay, behind the scenes? Remind me, is it Fat Timo he calls him? I've got no idea what the backstory is behind that, but in honour of Sean not being able to make it today, I would say go Fat Timo.
Yeah, well, he's definitely in a good position early on. Obviously, that's not a good position. The number 51 going for a slide in the infield there.
Donovan Strauss, he'd been making some moves, and now he's got damage to the left side of that machine, that front left fender, looking a little bit worse for wear, and that number 51 JDR Graphics Toyota Camry, he's going to bring it back up onto the racing surface, and we will stay green. But he has lost a lot of time, and I've just noticed a whole heap of cloud cover has come over the circuit as Rael Fowler and Max Cookson get a bit sideways out of 2. They gather it up. Cookson goes back through as Jake Matheson and Alex McCollum are exchanging positions as well. Now a lot of people starting to make some moves as Garrett Maines is getting to the back of Alex McCollum.
Yeah, this battle between Rael Fowler and Matt Danson is really stacking the field up behind them. There's a lot of 2 wide scenarios going on, and I wonder if some drivers are going to start getting a little bit more racy with this cloud cover. They're going to realise they have a tiny bit more grip.
Did you see Jimmy Mullis then on Brendan McKissick. He rode the absolute heck out of the right side door of Brendan McKissick's machine. There was about a paper's width between them coming through the corner. Look at this, right there. Nothing between them as McKissick slid up the track a little bit. And that's the fine margins of racing here in iRacing. Nothing being left out on the table of these drivers. And Mullis and McKissick, they're not afraid to race. Mullis, he knows what he's doing out there. He's starting to make some moves now. Up into 14th from 21st on the grid. He's going to follow Matt Danson through as Ray Alfala now starting to lose a couple spots again.
Yeah, Ray Alfala out there on that high side. I would have thought in the long run the high side would come in a little bit, especially as these tyres burn off a bit. But again, I wonder if that cloud cover is could be affecting that. These drivers have all different kinds of setups under their cars. Some of them have probably got it set up to run up high, some of them down low. We'll see how that unfolds as the race progresses. Already about 20 laps in of 160 laps, and I don't know if we're halfway through a stint or a third of a way through a stint, depending on what strategy these guys end up playing.
Close to a third of the way through the stint, I would suspect, maybe a touch over, as here we go, a battle between Sean Disbrow and Brian Mercurio. Mercurio going to look to his inside for 3 and 4. When you make a move, especially with the package that these Cup cars run, it's important to make sure you have a run when you go to the inside, because you're going to compromise your speed when you do it. If you can't clear them particularly quickly, you're going to lose a lot of time, potentially put yourself under pressure from behind, as we're seeing here. Mercurio wasn't able to complete it. 3, 3 and 4, still side by side down the back straight next time round. Going to go side by side for a whole lap here, and that's allowed Max Cookson right up to the rear bumpers of these two drivers. He just backed out on the 0-2 to 3 and 4 to give himself a run, and now he will get back to the inside of Disbrow. Disbrow is going to start to get freight trained here because there's a whole host of cars lined up behind him now.
Yeah, and while all this has been going on, there's actually been a little bit of a development in the top 5. Will Norton had a big slide out of turn 2 a couple laps ago. It cost him 3rd place to Jake Matheson, and now he's losing another position to Alex McCollum. So, as we get into the middle stages of this run, Will Norton's car seems to be fading away a little bit.
Garrett Maines as well. He was right up in the back of Alex McCollum. He's running in 6th place now, about close to a second off him, about 8 tenths adrift. So Garrett Maines starting to fall backwards, but still on board with Jimmy Mullis here, looking at the battling in front of him. That's Sean Disbrow up on the high side, and now right in front of him, just staring at the rear bumper of that number 23 machine as they make their way through 3 and 4 for the 23rd time of asking in this one. And Disbrow definitely, I think, starting to take a stroll down Struggle Street in this one, because he's just struggling to keep that car turned down to the bottom of the racetrack, starting to drift up through the corners, and in doing so, offering up plenty of opportunities to the guys around him. Graham Boland and Matt Danson are side by side behind them as well. Disbrow, that rear end was definitely stepping out on him through turn 2 that time. It's a good job not to go too far sideways and clip the side of Jimmy Mullis, but it's going to make life a bit easier for Mullis and a bit easier for the guys behind as they see that and realise he is struggling.
Phil puts on another lap. About 18th on back, we have a massive pack of cars. We're watching all that right now here in the middle of the field. These drivers trying to get themselves all sorted out as they try and work their way through the middle of the stage. Still about a 1 second lead that Blake Neer is holding over Ryan Duchette, but that obviously it could change if we do come up to green flag pit stops. So we'll see which drivers do a better job on pit entry.
Max Cookson just fighting his way by Timu Toika just in front of these guys, and in fact Jimmy Mullis is going to follow him through, so Toika going to lose out a couple spots on the outside of 2 there. They're 2 by 2 behind him. Denson, Boland, Hurst, and Disbrow. Look at Taylor Hurst. First car to make that work that we've seen goes around the outside of Sean Disbrow through 3 and 4 and completed that relatively quickly. So now is the outside starting to come in? Are we going to see a slow migration of drivers making moves, doing it on the high side of the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like throughout the field, most of the cars are running on the low side if they're running on their own, but battles for position, we're seeing cars start to make moves on the high side. We do have our first retirement of a race. Donovan Strauss has taken the number 4 car behind the wall.
Oh,
and so
contact,
is there
Denson,
another one?
and Boland gets collected. Alfala's involved, the 14 and the 20, and that's a big crash, and that's our caution. And Harrison Lyon, Trevor Perry, and Femi Olat all taking a piece of it as well. That is a bunch of good drivers and cars torn up in that. And you've got to wonder, did someone not check up quite as much as they should have in that? Take a look at the replay here in a second, thanks to Motor Simulation, Sam. And you can see it was started off with the contact between Danson and Boland, but then this car behind just got into the back of him.
Yeah, well, it's also, I wonder if there were so many cars involved because it's not exactly the place the drivers are expecting a wreck. Down at the end of the fastest part of a racetrack, they're all wide open on the throttle looking for their braking mark into the first corner, and unfortunately for a lot of cars, their braking marker was a car parked across the middle of the racetrack.
Can't actually be blamed for the initial contact between Danson and Boland. It was Zach Novak that came into the picture. I think in Novak's defense, he was probably backpedaling, but very tough to backpedal fast enough and try to figure out what exactly that car on the high side was going to do. Alfala had nowhere to go, as did Harrison Lyon and a few other drivers. I think a few of the guys involved did escape with minimal damage. So we'll keep you updated on who manages to get back out on the racetrack after that, as everyone dives down onto pit road, and we have our first pit stops of the day. Blake Neer in that number 1 pit stall. Can he retain the lead of the race as they come out of the lane in the race off of pit road as the left sides get done? And now they go. Blake Neer will not lead them. Ryan Doucette takes it away. Good stop for him.
Yeah, Blake Neer had everything in his favour there. He hit his mark centering his pit stall. He had that desired first pit stall. Ryan Doucette, though, was on the loud pedal and spinning the tyres, but able to win the race, seemingly, because he's not given the position back to Blake Neer. So that would indicate that the number 10 is our new race leader. And as you can see, well, actually, we're looking at a couple of the cars speed up down pit road now, but I can tell you no one chose to stay out. Everyone came in for tyres and fuel, some obviously in for repairs as well.
Brendan McKissick still down on pit road, missing a front bumper. Graham Boland got a piece of it as well. He's out of the race. Ray Alfala, what's his car look like? Because when I saw it, it didn't look too bad, at least what I saw. He was one of the first drivers to get involved in it. And having a look at that car, Virtual Racing Skill Machine, I'll tell you what, Sam, a little bit of damage on the right front, but I don't think his speed is going to be affected too much.
Well, the problem is Atlanta. It's a very high-speed track. Now, one advantage, well, 2 advantages he'll have. One is draft of the slipstream, the fact that he's able to run behind these cars and any aerodynamic damage he does have will be minimized. You know, he'll still be able to get some good speed down the straightaways. And the second is the fact that it's an open setup series. If the damage is making your car a little bit tight or a little bit loose or whatever, just like in the real world, they can come in, repair the car a little bit, make some adjustments, make it quicker, make it more stable, and I think he could still be competitive, but we'll wait to see how far up front he can go.
We were with the 1 to go signal, but the green delayed by iRacing. Normally that happens when someone is still stationary or extremely slow on the racing surface, or I think when there's a number of cars out of position. So we'll try again to go a lap of 1 to green and get back underway then as the lights go out once more. And you can see the whole field already formed up in 2x2 formation. It's quite the sight to see when you do get the cars like this. And what would be a better sight to see would be if we had a full field of fully painted cars. And if you're watching this back and your car has not got its paint scheme showing, make sure you make an account on the SimSpeed website, upload your paint to the paint booth for the NASCAR iRacing Series section, and hopefully by the end of the season, we will have 37 cars all showing their beautiful paint schemes out there. And that would be quite the sight. As we head down the back straight, half a lap, and we're back underway.
Yeah, about to work our way into turn 3 and turn 4. So the first stint lasted about 30 laps. Cars were going about 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap slower than where they started. That's why everyone came in for 4 fresh Goodyears. But just a little strategy note for these drivers as they head off into the next stage of this race.
Alright, so Dry and Doucette will leave them to the green here. Blake Neal on the outside of the front row. We go green, and a good start for Doucette. Look at that outside. Garrett Maines, a big push to Blake Neal, who drives it down in front of the number 12. Couldn't quite clear him. And so here comes Will Norton back to the inside, the outside going backwards now. With Garrett Maines up there, he's going to take them 3 wide. McCollum down on the inside. Maines trying to shoot through the middle as Blake Neal tries to hang tough on the outside of these 3 drivers, almost making contact. And Blake Neal, the man who loses out from that, has almost contact behind them. That was Jake Matheson and Jimmy Mullis through the tri-oval.
Yeah, these leaders will be going flat out for the opening couple of laps. Simple rules of physics there will tell you that the outside lane is not the place to be because you've got to drive a longer way around. And that's why Blake Neal was really pushing the cars underneath him down, trying to get away from the high top side of the circuit, but it still didn't work. He's going back in the field a little bit. And now we're going to see what our pole sitter can do in dirty air. What's going on back here?
This is Adam Jocelyn in back here 24th. Very slow up there on the high side. Maybe a bit of damage to his machine. We saw Harrison Lyon dive down a pit road as well. Potentially a blown engine for him. He was missing a front bumper too, so that car definitely not up to speed. Gray May Boland's got back out on the track too, so he's not done with yet. But he's going to be multiple laps down as we continue to watch this battle here for the top 5. This is a very, very close battle here. This is Alex McCollum now going up top, and that's going to offer up the inside to Jake Matheson, who's going to take it away. Jimmy Mullis is going to try to follow him through, not going to be able to do it, and McCollum's just going to cover him off.
Yeah, some dicing going on in the positions behind us as well. Obviously, everyone trying to gain as much as they can while their tyres are fresh. But it's Ryan Doucette continuing to lead them out front ahead of Will Norton and Garrett Maines. The top 3 have broken away, really, from this whole hornet's nest of cars from 4th on back.
And definitely more aggressive off this restart than they were at the start of the race. There's no guarantee we're going to see another caution and another opportunity for these drivers. Look at Taylor Hurst, a great move from him to the inside of Brian Mercurio and now to the outside of Blake Neal. But he's going to be boxed in with nowhere to go with Alex McCollum a little bit slow in front of him. Now he gets to the inside of that machine as Blake Neal just drifted up the track and now they go 3 wide. What a move from Taylor Hurst to get to his inside and should take that spot away through 3 and 4. Taylor Hurst looking pretty good right now with his confidence in that car.
Yeah, no, he's been doing a lot of this race because he started all the way back in 24th and now he's just moved his way up into 6th position. Just 5 more cars separating him for the lead and they're all running on their own. They're all running single file. So he's done the hard work. Now he's just got to run everyone down one by one and find a way by those guys. Okay, maybe he's still got some hard work left, but he's gotten out of a hornet's nest, the beehive, the whatever you want to call it, the place where if we are about to have a second caution, it'll probably happen behind him.
And Blake Neal still stuck side by side. That's Zach Novak going to swoop around his outside with a whole host of speed in that machine, and Novak flying up on that high line, He's going to swoop by Alex McCollum as well. And so Zach Novak goes up into 7th place. And watch out for him. Could he be a repeat race winner for the first time this season? As we look a little bit further back into the Hornet's Nest that continues to rage, Matt Danson, maybe a bit sheepish from his role in that earlier incident on the outside of Timo Toika and Seth Knoll. He's got one on the front left, one on the left rear, and he's got Jose Solis Jr. behind him too. Who's that siding up in front of him? That was Sean Disbro, just in front of these drivers, trying to stop both of them from getting alongside him. But trying to defend 2 lines is a lot easier said than done. Oh boy, look at Knoll there.
Yes, as Sean Disbro were riding on board right now. As you mentioned, he's kind of trying to fend off 2 lines of cars right now, but already this early into a run, Matt Danson looks like he has something going on the high side. He might even be getting the draft off a number 8 car in front of him, of Matt Cookson, who's having a nice race in the number 39. iRacing ranks him as a number 8, but he has a number 39 on his car. Here we go, another lap in the books.
Jose Solis Jr. squeezed right up against the wall by Disbro, will lose out on an opportunity to take that spot away as a result, and he'll slot in behind him, immediately goes to the inside, almost in sync with Matt Danson in front of him. Danson wasn't able to do it, but Jose Solis Jr. is. He goes side by side through turn number 4, and Disbro with the runner up against the outside, but Jose Solis Jr. has got that shorter slide around the racetrack. Should be able to take it away if he carries enough speed through 1 and 2. I tell you what, Disbro doing a good job up top. Matt Danson in front of them, just all over the place at the moment, losing a bit of time, giving a bit of draft to both lanes. And Seth Knoll is starting to close up onto the back of these two as they stay side by side as well. Finally, Jose Solis Jr. clears him and slides up in front.
Give you a bit of an update up front. 0.3 of a second separating our top 2 cars of Ryan Doucette and Will Norton. And I'd like to see the right-hand side of Will Norton's car in 2nd place there, because I think he got a little piece of a wall coming off of turn 2 last lap, and you see he gave it a little bit of room there. Don't know if it's scratched up or if he got away with just a little bit of a kiss.
Oh, he might be asking too much of Jay there. Let's see if he can do it for us. That's the crowd, Jay. Don't go in the crowd. You're going to get sick, buddy. And, well, I couldn't see it. It's going too fast. These cars are doing down there 200 miles an hour. It is a bit hard to see as they flash by the camera. From that angle, it looks pretty good. Squeaky clean.
Yeah, and things looking good for Drake Matheson right behind him. He's just taken 3rd place away from Garrett Maines.
So let's see what sort of pace Matheson's got then. Can he close up to the back of Norton and Doucette? Garrett Maines struggling a bit, hanging around that top 5, doing a decent job. Don't know if he's got the pace to win right now. Might want to make a few adjustments on that car in the next few trips down pit road and make that thing handle just a little bit better. As we go further back, Danson's just completed the move on Cookson, puts himself up into P11. Ryan Mercurio and Blake Neer were side by side for a moment as well, but they sorted themselves out. Ooh, look at that from Jose Solis Jr. Threw that car to the inside of Cookson. Wasn't able to keep the momentum up through the corner. Cookson just squeezed him down and made him back out of it. But Solis Jr. looking aggressive here. Looking comfortable, looking good into that number 17 machine.
Still dicing it up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, still dicing it up. One thing we mentioned during the first stint, Ryan, but I have to mention again, is that these drivers willing to get single file right now because they know that'll help their tyres last a bit longer, I suppose. Every time we do see a battle going on, that's going to damage your tyres a little bit, cost you a little bit of speed to the cars in front, the cars behind. And so this is probably, to be honest, the calmest that we've seen the race right now as the drivers get settled into this second stint.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. They are side by side further back. That's Andrew Schwartz losing out as Zach Hudson swoops by on his inside and takes it away relatively easy, I should say. Mason Stiver completed the move a lap or so ago as well. Let's go back up and look at Alex McCollum here. Up here in 6th place, he's currently running. He's just completed the move on Taylor Hurst. So McCollum, his car starting to come to him. Well, maybe. It's hard to tell sometimes, Sam, as to whose car is coming in and whose car is going out of their respective optimal windows.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you who isn't doing too great right now, and I think it's the car we're on board. And yep, here it is, Blake Neer. And the reason this is a bit disappointing seeing him go back here is he was dominating the first part of this race. When he had clean air on the grille of his car, that number 7 was the car to beat. But now, obviously, he is fading back. I don't know if that's due to the dirty air or maybe he picked up some damage that we didn't see. But for whatever reason, this is definitely not the car, or it doesn't seem to be the same car, the same driver that was dominating the race early on. But it is, and who knows, maybe he can get back in it with a quick pit stop and an adjustment or two.
Mercurio was to his inside for quite some time, wasn't able to complete it. Matt Danson, Cookson, and Junior closed right up to the back of them as they were doing that. Maybe he thought it might be quicker to sit in behind Blake Neer, as that's a train of about 10 or so cars starting to stack up. A bit of a gap behind Solus Junior for now. If they go side by side again, expect that to shut down quite rapidly. Riding on board with Garrett Main, Zach's Alex McCollum, to his behind, to his left side, and now in front of him. And that was very easy for McCollum. I think Garrett Main's just let him go there.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Ray Alfala fans in our audience will have noticed that he hasn't really been able to make much progress after sustaining that damage in the opening wreck. He's running around in 17th place, which isn't the end of the world, but he's not going anywhere. He seems stuck back there right now, whereas earlier we saw him covering his way through the field.
Yep, you have to probably say damage might be the mitigating factor in that one. That slight knock to the right side part of the hood, affecting the air over his car at a pretty critical point. That right front, you want as much downforce as you can possibly get as you put a maximum amount of load through it, through these banked corners, and it is a very sensitive car to the aerodynamics. It may not look it, a big block of a machine, but when you go in 200 mile an hour, you need every little bit you can get. We're looking back from the roof of Blake Neer here, Hamburger Camp, looking backwards at Brian Mercurio, who closes up to his rear bumper, gets to the inside, you see his nose, and now you see his door, because he's fully alongside him through 1 and 2, trying to complete the move. But Blake Neer, his car's working well on this high side, or so it was at least through the first part of the corner, just drifted a bit wide on the exit, and this is the opportunity that Mercurio needed. He will complete the move and take that spot away. Matt Danson is going to be the next driver in line to try and capitalise.
I feel like Blake Neer has got to feel like he's playing chess after losing a rook now or something. You know, it's like, what am I doing? This is not going my way at all. After how the opening of his race, he was playing everything pretty good. Things were definitely going his way.
So
I've been playing some chess recently, so that might not be the last chess analogy to come up during this game. But what's your theory?
Keep them coming. Well, when you're racing in these machines, I mentioned how sensitive they are. The track is ever changing, the time is ever changing, the weather changes as well. You have to make adjustments, especially in open setup series, to stay up to date with how the handling changes over the course of the race. Potentially, Blake Neer made a small adjustment down on pit road to try and make the car a little bit better for the next stint of the race. Maybe he went the wrong way and the setup has not done any wonders whatsoever, maybe hindering him instead. And that's why we're seeing him drop down the order in this stint. And maybe next time he comes down pit road, he'll revert that change and he'll have some pace the next stint of the race. But let's see. Let's see how that unfolds then.
Yeah, that's not unheard of. That's very, really could be a possibility. The problem is even if he does get back up to speed and back up to the front of the field, how's he going to get by Ryan Duchette? Because Ryan has a 1 second lead now. Things are definitely going in his favour.
Yeah, Doucette's looking comfortable as you can be on an abrasive, bumpy 1.5 miles racetrack that you can really be. You can never really be comfortable on a track like this when you're doing the speeds you're doing. But if you were, you'd be in Ryan Doucette's shoes right now. 1 second back to Norton. Norton's got half a second back to Matheson. And then the field starts to get a bit more condensed from there on back until you get to the midfield where they are bumper to bumper with not much quarter being given. Top 5 are pretty good right now. Garrett Maines and Zach Novak are the first battle really on the racetrack in terms of track position. Look at that from Maines. You saw that rear end stepping out off the corner. And just that slight moment costs him a lot of speed and momentum. And Zach and Novak takes the spot away. Garrett Maines is fighting anyone right now. We saw that earlier too. Although, he's gone for the crossover move. And he's going to take the spot back. So, disregard that.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting this is now a longer run than our first green flag run, which didn't quite go 30 laps. So, and we're having to deal with lap traffic from all the cars that were damaged in the first wreck. So Brandon McKissick is going a lap down, and you know, if we have battles for position, that could affect things. Graham Bolin has also just been lapped by Ryan Doucette, so we'll wait and see what kind of impact this has on any battles up towards the front of the field, because we've got one brewing for 4th and 5th between Jimmy Mullis and Alex McCoylan. So, I think Alex just brushed the wall out of turn 2 there, though.
Might have done. Alex McCollum and my Australian voice wants to say McCullum all the time, so I apologise if I keep mispronouncing your name, but I'm probably just going to keep calling you McCullum at this stage because it's much easier to roll off the tongue. And in the heat of the moment, that's what comes out of my mouth, Sam. I don't know if you're finding it easy, but the whole O instead of an U after the 2 C's is tripping me up a bit.
A lot of these names have tripped me up a bit, but I'll tell you one word I can say: 100, and that's how many laps we have left to go in this event right now. And I think that's always a bit of a motivational number as a racing driver, especially in NASCAR. When you know you've got less than 100 laps to go, it makes the finish line seem in reach, and you want to start getting your car in position to be up front at the end. And Ryan almost threw away that position there. He almost knocked the wall down in turn 2. I would hate to be that turn 2 wall. That would be a scary job.
It would. I don't know if they still do it, but I know in coverage of NASCAR in real life, they when they get to 100, they stop counting the laps completed. They start counting laps left to go, and that always signified for me when the race was reaching its climax and the finale, and you could expect the action to ramp up on the racetrack. Don't know if they still do it. Maybe it'd be cool if we could do that one day. AJ.
You know what would be cool for? Yeah, I think Dre just said he could do it. One thing that would be cool for Drake is if he could get 2nd place, and I think that might happen soon because he's definitely rammed Will Norton down here.
Yeah, a couple of battles now on the track. Danson and Cookson and Matheson for 2nd place too. We had side-by-side working last week. What about still working this week? As we need 2 eyes on the racetrack right now. Matheson right on the back of Will Norton. And I think we had some technical difficulties with it, so not quite ready for us this week. But if you keep watching this race throughout the season, we guarantee that we will have side-by-side pictures working perfectly by the end of the season. And, oh, that's tight. Brendan McKissick, oh, getting lapped by Solus Jr. and Matt Danson. Always awkward when you catch a car right on the entry to the corners. Possibly the worst spot to catch a lap car.
Yeah, and these cars are going so fast around here, sometimes it's difficult to tell exactly where you're going to catch a car. So some drivers, though, you know, that's part of their specialty. They can time it. I know it's not NASCAR racing and Formula One, but Michael Schumacher, who is a multi-time Formula One champion, he was notorious a little bit for being able to time it so that he could capture lap cars right on the part of a circuit where he knew he would be able to get by them easily. And so that can make a difference. You know, that is a skill some of these drivers have to perfect, because especially when we get long green flag runs like that can definitely make a difference.
Most certainly, that's Graham Boland losing a lap as well. As Dancer went by him, maybe a hand out the window and apologise for the incident earlier on. Timo Toika will follow him through as well, that number 21 machine back there. This is just outside the top 10. In fact, it just is the top 10 because Max Cookson and Sellers Jr. right in front of these guys. Cookson's the final driver inside the top 10. In terms of cars on the lead lap, we've got 30 of them still in this race. A couple guys a lap down. Brendan McKissick currently in the lucky dog position, if we were to get a caution.
Yeah, and that
Toyka.
shows you
Here
that.
goes Toyka to the inside.
Yeah, that shows you the skill set of this entire field. The fact that, you know, we had a multi-car wreck for our first and only caution so far today, and yet here we are still with 30 cars on the lead lap out of 36 starters.
Yeah, the only drivers a lap down are Donovan Strauss, who we saw had an issue, Harrison Lyon, Trevor Perry, Graham Boland, Wilkinson and McKissick. I believe all of those drivers were involved in that multi-car crash, barring Strauss, who just got a bit too intimate with the wall down the back straightaway. As Cookson now is going to come under pressure. Sellers Jr. throws it into the corner on the inside, and that car gripped up and stuck beautifully. He takes it away. He moves himself up into the top 10.
I'm trying to do some math here. First caution flew on lap 30. It's lap 70 now.
That's 40
And,
laps.
yeah. So they could go the lap 90, but or so. Mind you, if you can stretch 65 laps on fuel, then you can make it to the end, couldn't you? Almost. So I wonder if that's a magic number. Yeah.
Assuming that 60 laps is the minimum, I reckon they can probably do 65, 70. But I would say if you can get to lap 100, you can definitely make it home. Lap 95, I reckon you're probably right. You're probably very much in with a shout. And if there's a late caution, you're going to be safe anyway. Everyone's going to dive down a pit road in that situation regardless, especially if you're on old tyres. Currently, the drop-off, they're 2 seconds a lap slower than they were at the start of the stint. So we're at that point where tyres really starting to lose out. And sometimes the tyres, Sam, they don't necessarily lose grip. They just lose pace. And you may feel comfortable, but the car just won't drive very fast.
And we got some cars coming in.
Oh.
They've botched pit entry though. That's Jimmy Mullis driving through the grass.
Set.
He's having to rejoin the circuit. So what these drivers are doing, they're realizing they're 2 seconds a lap slower. They're nowhere near empty on fuel, but they're going to split this race up into a couple extra pit stops to get pace. The problem is Jimmy Mullis is going to have to do another whole lap around the track because he completely missed pit entry, and that's going to bugger things up for him.
I wonder if his left side's got far enough into pit road to trigger a penalty for him. If they did, he's going to go from bad to worse with that mistake. But he shot himself in the foot big time with that one. And I'm sure he'll be bookmarking that next time and not making that mistake. So our race leader came down a pit road. And Jimmy Mullis tried to follow him. And speeding a pit lane penalty for one of the drivers out there. That was Taylor Hurst who got a speeding a pit lane penalty. So a mistake for him. It is an art form, almost, Sam. Getting a car slowed down from 200 mile an hour, turned left off the banking onto the apron, and slowed down to pit road speed in the space of a couple hundred meters.
It is. And these drivers, being at the pro level that they are on iRacing, are going to push it right to the limit. So I think this is a smart strategy call. And here we go. Will Norton doing it too? Yep.
Brian Mercurio
Ryan,
and Garrett Maines. Mercurio, his right side's clipped the grass. I tell you what, Sam, it will be interesting to see if anyone stays out and goes for the ultra long run here. The only driver I know of that often does that, and that's because I've raced him way too many times and seen him beat me way too many times, is Matt Danson. He, 9 times out of 10, will go for the ultra long run. So, keep an eye on him to be the joker in this pack. and just stay out there and maybe wait for a caution or hope for ultra fresh tyres at the end to come back through the field that way.
Yeah, but again, these drivers, if anyone is going to risk staying it out and doing this race on one more stop, they've still got to make it the lap 95 or 100, which could be easy for them. A lot of these drivers race with apps open that tells them exactly how far they can go on fuel, so hopefully all these drivers have made their decisions. But here we see Ryan Duchette ever picking up positions as he goes around. And I do think this is the preferred strategy if it stays green. I think the drivers who are staying out there on the racetrack are losing so much time on their old tyres. Ryan Duchette was one of the first drivers to pit. I think he was the first driver to pit, so that will have given him extra laps on these fresh tyres. He's going to be able to undercut a lot of cars in the pits. And if everyone does cycle through on this strategy, he is going to come back out up at the front of the field.
There are a number of drivers who haven't pitted yet. Leading the race at the line that time was Matt Danson. Timu Tuika was side by side with him, so he's second. This is the battle for the lead of the race right now. Although provisionally it won't be once everything cycles out at whatever time that may be when everyone decides to pit. Along with Tuika, Solis Jr. hasn't pitted. Neither has Seth Knoll, Ray Alfalla, Ryan Kuhn, Jake Matheson. Matheson's down on pit road now, in fact. There's a number of drivers who haven't done it. And at this stage, I think you've made your bed. You've committed. If you pit now, you're in no man's land. You've not got an undercut. You've not got enough of an overcut. You're just in a poor spot. So at this point, Sam, I think you've just got to stay out now. Run that fuel down, or at least get to a stage where your fresh tyres are going to be substantially better than the guys that have gone for the undercut, and you can come back with a big overcut strategy, because you pit now, you're in trouble. Someone's pitting now, that's Ryan Kuhn.
Yeah, for drivers like Ray Alfalla, I don't think this is a bad call, because obviously his car's damaged. He wasn't going to win this race by doing the same thing everyone else was doing, so why not try something different? It's just the longer this race stays green, the worse that strategy comes off. And of course, you always have this going on, as we see between Max Cookson and Garrett Maines, and that's traffic. Even if you do have a fresher tyres, a faster car, sometimes it can always be a little bit difficult to get by the guy in front. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost dangerous sometimes how much quicker you are. Alright, first driver I picked up there is Brian Mercurio. He did a 30 flat last time by. Matt Danson, a 31.9. 2 seconds a lap difference. In a straight line, they're going about the same speed, but through the corners, that's where all the time's being dropped. And the corners aren't that long. So, in a very short period of time, you're...
Ryan Duchette has just had a big moment coming off of turn 2. He's kept it going, but I don't know if he got damaged by hitting the car that was underneath him.
Yeah, a little bit of damage to his right side, and maybe a bit to his right rear, maybe a little bit. Doesn't look too bad, but yeah, it's almost dangerous how quickly you catch guys, and if you're not, got your eyes absolutely wide open, very easy to make a mistake and get into someone in front or behind, and that was... Ooh, got him with the left front as well. And that was the car in front. Brendan Wilkerson just had a bobble in the middle of the corner and looks to come up the track a little bit. And that caused Doucette to take an evasive action. And coming out of the corner, wasn't much he could do there. And, oh, that's another one. That's Chris Shearburn. Tried to slide around the outside of Danson. That gap quickly shut. He had to back out of it. Almost got into the wall. And now he's going to go by. So is McCollum.
Oh, it doesn't appear that the damage has slowed Ryan down much now, because he's still able to carve his way through the field. But Matt Danson leading the field around. Here we ride on board Alex McCullum, and yeah, still a lot going on. We're only halfway through this race, so who knows what could happen between now and the checkered flag.
Top 8 yet to pit. That list includes Danson, Tuika, Solis Jr., Knoll, Alfalla, Michael Jeans, Dustin Johnson, and Adam Jocelyn. They're the 8 that are playing the overcut strategy. They've all made their bed, they've all committed, they are not going to come in until the last possible moment, or at least until very late on in this stint. Alex McCollum, by the way, did get a penalty down on pit road, so that's why he's going to drop a bit of time in this pit stop phase, as Matheson gets a lap back. And at this stage now, Sam, if a caution were to come out, these drivers still on track are in the box seat, because the undercut people, let's call them the undercut people, have got enough laps on their tyres that, well, they're going to have to come back in again, otherwise their tyres are going to be substantially worse off than the guys who pit now under the caution if one were to come out. So there's also that risk.
Yeah, and
for a lap down.
Yeah, and the other thing is, everyone, assuming that Matt Danson and Timo Toika, etc., can make about another 10 laps on fuel, everyone can make it to the end on one more stop. It's just the top 8 cars are forced to take that pit stop within 10 laps because they're going to run out of fuel, whereas everyone behind them can kind of choose when they make that last stop. We got to change for the lead right now, actually. Timo Toika going by Matt Danson on the outside.
Oh, Blake Neer, nowhere to go as they go side by side, roadblock in front of that number 7 machine. Can he go by this time? Should be able to go through the inside pretty easily here for Matt Danson. He'll just hold that car out wide. He knows what's up. He knows Neer's got fresh tyres. No reason fighting him. So he slices through both of them, and Toika suddenly pulls out a massive gap over Danson. I wonder if these two are playing a fuel game of sorts here, stretching it long enough. Maybe fuel is a bit tighter than we suspect. Maybe the guys like Doucette who pitted really early, maybe they still have to pit again in this race. Maybe Danson and Toika have to pit again, but it will be in the next few laps. By the way, Will Norton has taken away the effective race lead off of Ryan Doucette.
Yeah, well, I do wonder if that moment we saw between Ryan and the slower car has damaged him a little bit. Will Norton also, well, let's put it this way. Ryan Doucette will have the oldest tyres of everyone who's pitted so far because he was the first driver to make that green flag pit stop. So that's going to make him go a little bit slower in the long run. And let's see what Will Norton can do here, because he has 6 seconds of clean air between him and the top 5 cars, and he'll want to minimize that as quickly as possible and try and find his way by Ray Alfala, by Jose Solis Jr., etc.
He's 11 seconds off the lead of the race. Although on this lap, I suspect that's going to come under 10 seconds. He's about 2 seconds a lap quicker than these drivers. Will be interesting to see how much further he goes, because the lap times for Toika and Danson seem to have plateaued out at a high 31. They're not getting any worse. And at some stage, the guys that pitted early, their tyres are going to start to drop off. And they're going to start to lose time, and so their benefit is going to get less and less. So it'll be interesting how much of a lead that Norton can get here if he, in fact, gets to that position before the other guy of his pit.
Yeah, this long strategy might not have worked out as badly as I feared for these drivers who have stayed out, especially considering the fact that several cars did it. So, you know, Timo Toika might only be leading by 9 seconds to a car that's a lot faster than he is, but he's also got 4 cars in between Will Norton and Timo Toika. And the fact that, as you mentioned, Ryan, that the tyres are going to start evening out. Ray Alfala, Jose Solis Jr., Seth Noel, and Matt Danson, they might start putting up a fight against Will Norton. His job is only going to get harder the longer it goes on. But then again, maybe they'll all be forced to pit within the next couple of laps for fuel anyway, and then Will Norton's job gets a lot easier.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see them put up a fight. I mean, look at this. On board with Norton, I mean...
Yeah, well, our fella's coming in.
Oh, I was going to say, it looked like our fella was basically standing still there. That's why. He's come down to pit road. So he's the first of these drivers to blink and go for the overcut, come into pit lane. But regardless of that, I wouldn't expect them to put up a fight because they're still so much slower. It's just that it's a little bit less sort of drastic than it was. Timo Toika now comes down. All right.
Oh, he's lost it. Timo Toika, too much rear brake on entry. It's got it sideways, keeps it going.
Solus Jr.'s missed it. Solus Jr.'s missed the pit entry cone, so he's going to get a penalty as well. I imagine that Timo Toika's probably going to have a speeding penalty if he didn't get it slowed down. If not, he's lost a bit of time from being completely sideways. So this is the moment. The overcut people are going to come down to pit road now. And this is going to be very interesting to see where they filter out into this. Timo Toika also missed his box. Matt Danson is coming down to pit road. And now that is a pit entry. That is how you do it. Oh, no. Yep, that's how you do it. He almost had a moment, but he got it into pit lane nice and straight.
I was going to say, because if these two had messed it up, and this strategy turned out to be the better strategy, all of those 4 drivers could have just handed Ray Alfala the win after all by messing up pit entry. But fortunately for Norton and the other driver we just saw pit there, they got pit entry spot on, and they should emerge in front of Alfala.
All right, so this is these guys done for the race. I'm going to confidently say that they're not going to come in again, barring cautions. They've got to a period, they've got to a lap number, a critical lap, where they can make it home. So, they're going to head out on this racetrack, they're going to have fresher tyres, they're going to have a big advantage over these others out on track, who've been out there for almost about 30 laps, some of them. Guys like Doucette who put in extremely early, 20 to 30 laps, so they're not going to have as much of an advantage as Doucette, Co, and Co had over Danson and Toika. That's the downside, isn't it, Sam? Now they're on fresher tyres, but the difference between their tyres and the guys on track isn't as drastic as it was vice versa earlier on.
Yeah, well, the thing I think is the advantage for the drivers still out here on track, and you see how many different speeds are being carried now, as that's Alfala in the 2 car. They're just blasting by the cars on older tyres.
How close he got to the back of Matt Danson by pitting just a lap earlier than him.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Where was it going? The nice thing that the likes of Will Norton and Brian Doucette have for them right now is the freedom of when they make their final stop. That, you know, they can pick if they want to do it late, they can pick if they want to do it now. Doing it now isn't such a smart idea. They won't have that much of a tyre advantage. But yeah, no, this will definitely be an interesting last half of the race, especially if a yellow comes out.
I think Matt Danson here, because he's the only one that didn't make a mistake down on pit road, him and Alfala are in the box seat. They're already about to unlap themselves. It took Doucette and Norton about 10 or so laps to get to that point. So, that would suggest that Danson and Alfala are going to be in a very, very good position, because they're going to continue to get time and get probably, I reckon, almost halfway around the track. And be half a lap down by the time Doucette and Norton pits, which means that when the lead lap drivers pit, they're going to be a long way from unlapping themselves and then driving back around the racetrack and taking the lead away.
I almost wonder then if Will Norton and Co need to pit in about 10 to 15 laps. They can't pit so late where they're too far back. You know, whereas if they pit in about...
They also need to wait.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If they wait...
Yeah.
Yeah, if they wait 10 or 15 laps, I think that'll be a significant enough advantage, because we've seen tyres fall off by about a second a lap in 10 or 15 laps. The other thing, of course, is if we do get a caution, Will Norton and Co are in the best position. Yeah,
this is all being hinged on a green flag run for the drivers going on the undercut here. Will Norton across the line, his lap time, a 31.6. Matt Danson, a 30.0. 1.6 seconds, the difference between them. That's substantial. So, I reckon I'm going to put the marker down at about lap 120 to see Norton, Doucette, Maines, Cookson and Co into pit lane. I reckon that at that point they've got 40 laps to get a lap back, get themselves back into the lead of the race, and they've got tyres that are going to be a second and a half, 2 seconds quicker than Danson and Main and Alfala. I think Danson and Alfala are maybe the only drivers. Seth Knowles there too, I guess.
Well,
So,
can we throw another hat into the ring?
yeah.
We haven't mentioned him at all today, and he's just taken 4th place, and that's Zach Novak. He's just gone by, well, he's actually fighting Max Cookson for 4th place right now. But Zach Novak started 26th. He didn't turn a lap in qualifying. He just moved up to 4th, and there's a great battle going on behind him. Actually, I think this might be a lap down car, but no, it's not. This is 4th position. Brian Mercurio is racing 4th position here. So this is actually a hornet's nest going on right here. Who is going to end up with 4th place? I think it might actually end up being that 16 car, that 41 car rather, on the low side. Sorry, this is still messing me up.
Can we also not forget that Alfala was involved in that crash? If he managed to finish, even in the top 3, that'd be an amazing comeback for him. And Cookson down onto pit lane. He blinks. He wants to come down. Now, the issue for him is that Danson is still running very low 30s. So there's going to be almost no benefit to Cookson here. And he's going to come out a long way behind them. I think this is too early. I don't see any way that this works here for Cookson. I'm also not a top split driver, so there's also that. But I don't see it working, Sam. What about you?
I'd be inclined to agree with you. Now, some of these drivers race with real-life crew chiefs, team members on their headsets telling them what other drivers are doing, and that's very useful information that you just handed out there. That the cars on the other strategy are still running 30-second laps. I think that is something these leaders do need to consider. So you might be onto something there. Maybe someone should take you on as a crew chief, Ryan.
I'll do anything. I'll do anything for money at this. No. Do not take that line and use it. I can see how that can be used. I'll take that back.
Hey, they've made me talk to you for an hour for money, so yeah.
You're getting paid. Have you ever seen that movie?
Probably not.
Probably not? No. Alright, we'll move past it then. What's
is it that,
and
are we referring the SpongeBob SquarePants episode where Squidward says, "I'm getting paid for this, Mr. Krabs"? No. Okay.
No, we're the Millers. That one. You ever seen that one?
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Alright, let's go past it then. Matt Danson, 30.6. His tyres are starting to go off. He's dropped about half a second now. Is it enough for Max Cookson? Well, I don't know. Where's Max Cookson? I genuinely can't find him on the racetrack. There he is. Back in 26th, a lap down. 29.6. So he's a second lap faster. But he's also coming out of turn 2. Whereas Matt Danson is coming through turn number 3 and 4. So there's a massive amount of time for him to be made by the time he even gets to what will be the lead lap once everyone else pits, if you follow what I'm saying. Danson will be the provisional race leader once everyone else pits. So that's the guy you need to pass to get back on the lead lap. And Cookson is a long way behind him. You get it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, so Danson doesn't have to pit again.
Yeah, close enough. Alright, Will Norton 31.5. So Danson is now about 8/10 of a lap quicker than him. So his benefit seems to be getting worse and worse, actually. And that's another thing, because the tyres for Norton and Doucette are 20 laps older than Danson's, and not 50 laps older, he's going to start to get closer to their lap times a lot earlier than they were getting closer to his on his 50 lap older tyres. So there's so many different intricacies and things to consider with these strategies, Sam, that, I mean, we really don't know what strategy is going to be the best one until we get down to the last few laps of this race.
Yeah, and these drivers are well aware of that. A lot of them were probably thinking about it when the caution flew on lap number 30, or probably even when the race started, what kind of strategy they would prefer. So let's think about this mathematically. Let's say most cars pitted around a lap 73 on this strategy where they're running up towards the front of the field right now. Well, lap 163 is a checkered flag. So halfway between that is...
Can he do it? No pressure. Ah, he's been fed the answer by the producer. Ah, it's cheating.
I didn't calculate this myself, but I know the producer's
Blake
answers are wrong.
Blake Nia has come down to pit road. I don't think he was in a race winning contention anymore though, and he's got damage to the rear of his machine. Still waiting on Norton, Doucette, Main, Shearburn, and Novak. I think maybe the top 6 have a chance with this strategy. I think Ryan Kuhn back in 7th is another 4 seconds adrift. He's too far back. It's funny, the undercut strategy has now turned into an overcut on this last pit stop.
Hey, there we see Garrett Mains getting the rear brakes. I just typed in the calculator. You know what the middle number is between 73 and 163 is? It's lap 118, and we just surpassed that. So either I did something wrong in the calculator, or pit road should start getting busy.
Did I say 140? I was so far off. I need to go back to school. Damn, that's a long way off. Chris Shearburn down onto pit road. Here we go. The man running around in 3rd place brings it down into the lane. Sean Disbro and Andrew Schwartz are down there as well. Chris Shearburn is going to be at a benefit then, as opposed to Norton Doucette. Even one lap. We saw that earlier on, how much of a benefit that could be. I believe we just saw Jimmy Mullis down on pit road. Will Norton out of turn 4. Into pit road then. Comes our race leader. Can he get it slowed down? Ooh, I reckon just about will avoid a speeding penalty. He got it slowed down quick enough, I think, after that. He's been followed by Ryan Doucette. Zach Novak stays on the racetrack. Here we go. This is going to get very interesting now. Where's Chris Shearburn going to rejoin relative to Matt Danson? Where's Ray Alfala? He's gone behind. So Seth Knoll has entered the fray. And he's now running provisionally 2nd, but he's 4 seconds off Danson. He's just romping away with it at the moment. Chris Shearburn then is through 3 and 4.
Norton's coming now. I don't know how he didn't get a speeding penalty, because him sliding through the grass meant he wasn't able to scrub off any speed, unless we'll find out if he has to come back in for a drive-through or anything. But all right, if he doesn't, where's Norton going to come out?
Danson's about 3/4 of a lap ahead of Chris Shearburn. And Doucette and Norton are a lap behind him, it looks like. Yeah, they're behind him on the racetrack. Are they? No. Yeah, so actually, scrap that. We figured it out. Well, kind of. Danson's not got a lap on them. 3/4 of a lap is the gap then from the lead back to Cookson, Doucette, and Shearburn.
Yeah, Will Norton.
Hey Sam, you know why I'm getting confused?
Because Garrett Mains is the effective leader, according to our producer.
Yep. I don't think he is though. I think our directors.
No, he is. I recall Garrett Mains made a very early pit stop in this 2nd stint. Yeah, he came in about lap 117, lap 118, and that's gave him the extra edge right now.
He's also 20 seconds off of Danson. All right. Well, let's see how this unfolds. 29.6 for Mains.
I think
Danson,
he can do
it's
it.
A 31.2. So it's 1.6 seconds. Yeah, he might get there.
Now, the big question is, will Garrett Maines hold on ahead of Will Norton? Because I was paying attention to the fact that Will Norton came ahead of, like you said, Chris Sherburne and Brian Doucette, but as you mentioned, Garrett Maines kind of pulled a bit of a blinder over us, but because he hasn't really been racing for the win for most of this race, but he's been up there. He's played a very nice late strategy call, and honestly, it could have been one that just won him the race, but it's still not going to be easy. He's still in 7th place. He's still got to work his way by 6 more cars, and he's got to have to hold off the hard-charging Will Norton, who has proven to be very fast throughout today's race.
And if a caution comes out in, say, 5 laps, everyone's going to come down to pit road again anyway, so everything's then mute, and we stack them up all on a level playing field and go again for a short, sharp dash to the end. So there's always the threat of a yellow.
Yeah, and even though we've only had one so far, the intensity always picks up towards the end, so you never know. Of course, the fact that there's a giant apron here helps us keep it green, because cars can crash down there and iRacing won't show the caution flag. Garrett Maines is already in 5th place.
Yeah, he is flying. I think Garrett Maines might have this one at the moment. 14 seconds off of Danton. He's cut it down drastically. Chris Sherburne is 2 seconds behind him and lapping at about the same pace. Maybe about a 10th of a lap quicker. So he's got 3 seconds over Sherburne as Garrett Maines. He might have pulled the absolute worldie of a strategy here. Just pitting a few laps earlier has given him a massive advantage in terms of track position, and not much of a disadvantage in terms of tyre wear, it seems.
Yeah, so Matt Danson will be hoping not to run into a lot of traffic, and the good news there is he won't, because he is the traffic, because he's out there on old tyres and everyone's passing him, not vice versa. He currently still holds a 5-second lead over Seth Knoll, so Matt Danson doesn't really have a threat from anyone on the same strategy as him right now. He's got to be looking 5 cars back. Speaking of Seth Knoll, though, he has Ray Alfalo all over the back of him in 3rd place. You know, if Maines isn't able to run down these guys, we could have a good little battle for 2nd here.
Hey, where's Max Cookson in all of this? Remember his pit stop? He's in 4th place. Yeah, he's now slower than Matt. He's quicker than Matt Danson, but he's also dropping a lot of time. He's doing mid-low 31, so I think Cookson there definitely pitted a bit too early, didn't he there, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, it's still good for track position. I mean, you know, he might still pull out a halfway decent finish from this. Just isn't going to be 4th place for much longer, because Garrett Maines is getting very close to him and probably will have 4th place before him by the end of this lap.
Yep, here comes Garrett Maines. And there's Max Cookson right in front of him. And Maines will be looking at that back bumper for, about half a corner here probably. And he'll sweep by him. Maybe even a whole corner. Down the back straight, outside, Cookson. That rear end got a bit of a tank slapper going on there. That might have scared Maines a little bit. And now Maines goes to the inside, goes by. Very easy for Maines. So, up into 4th. A few more cars in the picture. Here comes Will Norton. He's got to the inside of Max Cookson, and now Garrett Maines is going to have to fight him. Because this is for, well, provisionally the lead of the race. They're 7 seconds off of Danton. They should get there with 30 laps remaining. If they start fighting, though, well, that could prevent that from happening.
Yeah, well, Norton's got 2 advantages here. One, he probably has a faster car because he's been performing better than Maines throughout the race. 2, he has better tyres than Maines because he pitted a couple of laps under him. So I would definitely be worried if I was a driver of a number 1 car right now, because here he goes. He's there, he's underneath him, and this could be for the win.
The gap was just a 10th of a second between them in terms of lap time, but that's enough for Will Norton to take it away incredibly easily, and Garrett Maines will fall back. And now Will Norton is the chaser, trying to close the gap to Matt Danson as he goes by the lap car of Jose Solis Jr. Jake Hickson is not in the lead lap, but he's throwing a curveball in here. He's going to go by Will Norton. He's quicker than him. He pitted, I think, more recently than Norton. The gap
and
to
it's
the lead.
worth it's worth noting now, granted they just traded positions, so that will slow them up a little bit, but Norton and co were running high 30-second laps that time around. Because of all that, that's only half a second a lap faster than the leaders, and there's a lot of traffic going on behind them right now. So they're still coming. They're still coming. They've still got the pace, but they've got to be careful that they don't waste too much time in traffic or fighting each other.
They've reached that point where their tyres lose their grip and are starting to become a little bit slower, and the guys out there are starting to equalise, and so Matt Danson's only 0.2 of a lap slower now. So we talked about this in the first stint of the race, or the second stint, one of the stints, didn't we? How the fresh tyres at a point start to become mute, and the guys out front on the long run start to plateau out with their lap times. And this is what's happening now. Will Norton's going to go by Ray Alfala, but he's still 6 seconds off of Danson. We've got a replay up on screen.
Yeah, so something happened to Brandon McKissick here. We just saw him going very slow down the back straight, and his engine blew up. Okay, no caution for that on iRacing. So yeah, Will Norton has just gotten third place from Ray Alfala. Now that he's gotten out of that traffic that he was going through, his lap times, well, no, they're only a low 31. He should get Seth Knoll within the next couple of laps. He's just got to navigate his way by the lapped car of Jake Hickson there. What kind of fight is Seth Knoll going to be able to put up? He is about half a second a lap slower, but Will Norton's got to win this race, because I said that strategy was faster, and I can't afford to embarrass myself first time broadcasting with you guys. So here we go. Come on, Will.
It's okay, Sam. I do that on a regular basis, every single broadcast. So, don't worry about that.
All right, here we go. Well, I'll call this one right. Will Norton's about to take second place. Yeah, got it right. There we go. All right, one car left. He's 5 seconds away from our race leader, Matt Danson.
It's a straight fight now. It's 5.1 seconds with 24 laps to run. 31.134 for Norton. Last time across the stripe. 31.4 for Matt Danson. 0.3 of a second difference. If he keeps that up, he should get there. But lap traffic will play a part, and surely Danson has to fight him. If he's only a couple tenths slower, is that small enough to be able to fight, or is it too much?
Well, the nice thing about Matt Danson, again, is he's one of the slowest cars on the track right now, so he's not going to catch lap traffic. There's not a whole lot of cars behind him. I don't think a whole lot of things are going to hold Matt Danson up between now and the end of a race. If he can keep running consistent mid-31s, he might be in for a shot. 22 laps to go, cross the line.
I think Norton's close enough if he keeps this up, but if his tyres start to go off, I mean, you never know. Matt Danson's very consistent out there, running good lap times, sort of plateauing. Chris Shearburn's
yeah, let's mention him.
Coming.
He's going faster than Norton.
Where's he come from? We saw him pit earlier on, and he sort of jumped off after that pit stop, but he's coming back at Will Norton. He's the man to watch out. He's going to go by Will Norton here in a moment. He's the fastest car on the track.
And the other thing I'll say onto that, though, is him and Norton don't want to battle each other too much, I don't think. You know, because that'll just ruin it both for them and help out Matt Danson. So Chris Sherburne wants to make quick work of this.
Well, their lap times last time by separated by 0.005 of a second, so if they do that again, they're going to be in a world of hurt in terms of their fighting. This time, Shearburn's able to find a tenth over him. What does Will Norton do here? Does he fight to keep second place? They're starting to reel in Danson here because he's only 3.8 out in front now. He's dropped about 0.6 of a second on the last lap. Maybe his time just reached that cliff.
At this level, as they're letting laps car of Femi Olat go by on the low side here, or at least Sherburne did, Will Norton not making it as easy for him. There we go. Oh, that really hurt Norton. Yeah,
what a
Norton.
Loose. And now they go side by side down this back straight. Norton is able to clear him though. He took that air off the left rear and it just almost pulled that car around, and Norton had to fight that one to keep it pointed straight. Cost him a bit of time. Let's see what the lap times are this time then, Sam, as they cross the line. Maybe Danson pulled out a bit.
He did.
He pulled out 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, that was not the best place, not the best way for Norton to let him by. And Christopher Sherburne's got a run here, and
he's going to throw the block, so they're going to fight. They're going to slow each other up if they keep doing this. And this is perfect for Matt Danson out front. Will Norton, if he keeps defending from Chris Shearburn, these two, they won't get to Matt Danson because Norton's tyres have dropped off too as well now. The gap stayed level to the front that time by.
And Chris Sherburne is going to start getting frustrated about this because I think he knows that he has more pace than Norton. And if he could get by Norton, he might be able to run down Danson. Or does he take a more conservative approach here, realize, hey, we're losing time to the real enemy and I should just ride behind Norton in third place? No, he's going to try and make something happen up high.
He has to. Norton's not got the pace. Although they're 2/10 quicker last time by, but he can't keep that risk. He's going to look to the high side then. Around the outside, through turns 1 and 2. Chris Shearburn trying to take it away. Door to door off the corner, down this back straight away. Should be able to clear him through 3 and 4 if he keeps that momentum up. All the way down against that white line for Will Norton. He slides up the racetrack, almost pushing Shearburn into the marbles, out against the wall. Still at the line, it's Norton in favour. Shearburn couldn't make it work through turn 4. The gap stays level to the front once more that time. They're slowing each other up now, going side by side like this. Chris Shearburn just about clears him, and he does. So Shearburn up into P2. Now he has to set his sights on the leader, Matt Danson.
Now I wonder if Norton's best. Oh, Norton is pushing in the dirty air there. He drops far back of Shearburn straight away. So now the game's back on. Let's see, 3.2 seconds. Even despite running side by side for a couple corners, Shearburn still 0.2 of a second out of Danson's lead.
There's 13.5 laps to go left in this one. If he catches them at a steady rate, he's going to get there. I don't see any way that Danson can fend him off with the difference in lap times. Even 2 to 3/10 of a second seem to be substantial enough where the faster car is able to just fly by him with relative ease. At the line that time, it came down by 0.2 of a second. If they keep closing up that rate, it'll take 10 laps.
2 times 5 is 10.
Yeah, it's going to take right up until the final lap of the race if he keeps catching them at 0.2 of a second. So Shearburn needs to find a bit more. Danson needs to somehow keep prolonging the longevity of those tyres, because if he can't, Shearburn's going to reel him in. At the line, this time by Chris Shearburn, a 31.258. Matt Danson, 31.493. 3/10.
You know, Chris Shearburn might need a bit of help from someone called the flagman.
Well, if the caution comes out, that's a whole other picture, because everyone is going to have to pit again. So Chris Shearburn and Matt Danson are going to be put on level playing fields. And they'll be restarting off the front row, barring mistakes on pit road. So never forget about that caution. What we've seen on this race, I don't think we're going to get it, but you never know. Gap comes down by another 3/10. 31.25, plays a 31.5 out front. So now Shearburn's found a 10th or so more, starting to reel him in. 2.4 seconds the gap. Norton's dropped off. He's 6/10 behind Shearburn. Garrett Maines is back there with Zach Novak. What? Where'd he come from? He's up into 5th now.
26 on the grid. That's where he came from.
He's up into 4th place, so he's found some pace. Can he get some Will Norton? He's still on the same side as Chris Shearburn.
All right, I got some easy math for you here, Ryan. Okay? 10 laps left to go. The gap is 2 seconds. So 0.2 of a second can't do that in 10 laps. 0.3 of a second lap can.
This is going to be a grandstand finish in front of a packed house in Atlanta. It's the only packed house in the world because, well, we all know why. We got it virtual. Virtual racing is the future of motorsport. If this doesn't ever clear up, bear that in mind for you, eh? Could virtual racing overtake the real world? I think that's certainly going to happen this week because nothing's happening in real life. 2 seconds the gap. Chris Shearburn to Matt Danson. 0.2 quicker. Matt Danson has got a car in front of him of Michael Jeans. He's quicker than him. He's a lapped car. He needs to clear here with ease. He's going to be taking some air away from the front bumper of Danson's machine. He dropped 0.3 last time by.
Yeah, Chris Shearburn actually just got passed by a lapped car on the new tyres, Eduardo Oliveira. And Eduardo's about to go by Matt Danson, so Matt can't afford to give... Yeah, and Drake Matheson. Yeah, sorry, that was the car I saw go by him. Drake Matheson just went by Christopher Shearburn. So Matt Danson's just got to let him by on the straight here. He can't afford to waste time letting him by in the turn.
Oh, that's going to hurt him. He's had to take a high line through 1 and 2, and that has taken away the optimum line for Matt Danson. That's going to hurt big time. Last time by, it was a 31.6, a 31.3 for Shearburn. This time by, I suspect that Danson will drop a bit more time because he would have dropped probably a 10th or 2 at least through the first corner there. Having to enter higher, you could be compromised on the exit of this corner and probably compromised on the entry of 1 now by the laps car Michael Jeans. A 31.7 for Danson last time. The gap's down to 1.1. Shearburn did a 31.4, 0.3 of a second quicker again. There's 5 laps to go in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think this is a matter of Shearburn is going to get Danson, especially once Danson gets, if Danson, I suppose, gets unlapped by these 2 faster cars behind him. No, they might actually be backing off, you never know. They might realise, hey, there's just 5 laps left to go here and the top 2 leaders are close on track. They might opt to just back out here. It's going to be interesting seeing what Oliveira and Dreams do here on the back straight.
The gap under a second now. Between the two of them, it's 0.8 of a second. There's 2 lapped cars in the way for Chris Shearburn. That could change the face of the race in this late stage. Looking across the line with 4 laps to go on this 1.5 mile racetrack that's putting on an absolute world-class finish. A 31.5 for Shearburn. The gap comes down by just 0.2 of a second that time. He finds his way by the lapped car of Michael Jeans. He's still got Eduardo Oliveira in front of him though. What will he do? Will he get out of the way of the second place man? They're going to come across the line with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm hoping he'll be able to get by him on the front straight here. Shearburn can still do this. He's got the run. He's got the hope Oliveira just holds his line up front there. Yeah, there we go. Well, the draft is great on the straights, but it could hurt him on the turn if it takes that dirty air off. I think we've got a straight-up dogfight for the win here. Granted, Shearburn has slightly faster tyres, but when you're racing for the win with 2.5 laps left to go, Danson's going to make his car as wide as possible, and this is about to get spicy.
He has to defend. There's no other choice, but Shearburn's got a crossover, and there's nothing Danson can do about it. The fresh tyres working a treat. Chris Shearburn to the inside across the stripe. He led them at the line. 2 laps to go. And I don't think there's anything left in the tank for Matt Danson. He can't fight him. Those old tyres are not working for him now. Chris Shearburn has taken that lead away. And as easy as you like, the overcut strategy for the final stint has worked. Matt Danson, try as he may, couldn't make it happen. White flag in the air here in Atlanta, and Chris Shearburn leads it by 0.4 of a second. In the blink of an eye, the gap swung the other way, and meanwhile in the background, Zach Novak's up into third too, but he won't get there. Chris Shearburn down into 3 and 4 for the final time today. What a drive from him, from 20th on the grid. Just the one caution flag today. He got the strategy game, and he played it perfectly. Our 5th race winner in 5 weeks in the NASCAR iRacing Series in the Friday 9 p.m. Eastern time slot. Dancing in the end, 9/10 adrift of the win. He comes up second best.
But what a race, hey? 2 completely different strategies, and they end up finishing first and second. Alfala running out of fuel had an insult to injury there. He was running in the top 10 as he finally comes across the finish line. He will be ranked in 12th position, so not the finish he wanted. But congrats to Chris Shearburn, because yes, he did play the right strategy, but at the same time, he had to fight for that. Fight for it he did, and he walks home the victor today.
If Alfala were out of field, Danson must have been running on fumes, because Alfala pitted, what, a lap earlier than Danson? If my memory serves me correctly. So Danson, wow. He was so close there, and that one might sting a bit in his first attempt at the NASCAR iRacing Series Strength of Field this season. Let's go to a break then here on the iRacing Esports Network, brought to you by SimSpeed TV. When we come back, we'll have the full post-race results and interviews with our race winners, hopefully.
Coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson.
Unbelievable finish.
It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race.
Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Loma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Low. 4 wide at the stripe.
For all his work here on this outside line, neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. 163 laps in the book, and the race winner was Chris Shearburn in a sensational cat and mouse tale in the final closing stages of the race. He chased Danson down and he took it away with a lap and a half remaining. The margin of victory, 9/10 of a second from Danson in second. Zach Novak home in third. He came from nowhere at the end of that race to finish up there. Will Norton home in fourth with Garrett Maines running out that top five. Ryan Doucette in sixth ahead of Brian Mercurio, Seth Knoll, Jimmy Mullis, and Max Cookson, your top 10.
Yeah, and then in 11th position, we have Sean Disbro and Ray Alfala came across on fumes in 12th place ahead of Andrew Schwartz. 14th position goes to Wesley Pistol ahead of Blake Trawick, rounding out the top 15. Mason Stiver comes home in 16th place. Our pole sitter dropped all the way back to 17th by the end of the race. That's Blake Neer. Dustin Johnson was the last car in the lead lap. The first car's one lap down, who got out of the way nicely for the leaders were Eduardo Oliveira and Jake Hickson.
Rest of the results will scroll through on your screen as we don't have Chris Shearburn, but we've got Matt Danson, second place today. I spoke to you yesterday, Matt. You said, I might do NIS tomorrow. I said, do it. We need you in the race. And I'm glad you did because that was a nerve-wracking finish.
Yeah, I tried my best. It was going back and forth. I thought, no, do I have enough? When Shearburn and Will were, sort of battling, I thought, gee, that might be what I need. But yeah, it just came up short, unfortunately.
And in terms of strategy, I said at one point when you started going for the overcut in the first stint, this is typical Danson. He always does this. He always stays out. Did you always have the plan this race to go for the overcut strategy if it stayed green? How confident were you that it was going to work? I mean, you said that you were unsure in the final stint of the race. How did the mindset change, from the start of the stint to the end?
Well, I mean, when we went green, I just figured everyone would do one stop from that point. I thought everyone would make the same the same distance, but I guess maybe people have different gear, or I don't know, just wanted to go, balls out or something. But I was pretty sure that I was only going to pit once. When I saw everyone pitting in like lap, I think it was like 87 to go was the first guys that came in, and then heaps of people started coming in. I was surprised, and so at that point in time, I was like 100% set on no matter what, I was going to be one stopping, and then I just hoped for the best. I didn't really have any grand plan at that stage. I just I knew that I think it was like Jose. Seth, I think, was one of the other guys who was like staying out the same. Ray as well was staying out that long, and yeah, so I sort of was focusing on them. I thought they'd be like, to be honest, I thought that was going to be the race. I didn't really expect the other guys to get back there, but they had such good speed, obviously, with the when they had their freshies and they got 2 dips at that. So that was probably obviously the difference, but it's close.
Close indeed, and just short today. There's still 30-odd weeks left in the NIS season and this particular time slot. Are we going to see you back? You've got to come back, surely, and get redemption and take out a win.
I'd like to think I could, but I don't know. Like I don't have the. I mean, I was running around like 9th, 10th, before that. So it's not like I just didn't deserve to be near the front. I had good speed. I just couldn't pass anyone. I couldn't complete a pass at all. And every time I go to pass someone would get a run on me. So that was unfortunate. It just depends on work, to be honest with you. I'd like to do as many as possible. It's cool racing against these guys. I kind of junked a friend of mine, which is a bit sad. Graham, which was a strategic, obviously yellow. I guess it, thankfully killing Graham meant that we could do the fuel run. But sorry, Graham. I'm sure he's a bit upset. But yeah, I'll try and get out. Hopefully, get a win here and there. I don't, like I said, I don't have that raw pace that a lot of these guys have. I'm just a little fraction off with that, but long run, I'm usually semi-okay. So we'll see what happens.
I hope to see you back. Before we let you go, who are the sponsors you want to give a shout out to and the people that get it done for you?
Yeah, Horizon Racing Team had the big win during the week with one of the teammates, Geordie. He won Top Split Road to Pro, which was awesome. A couple of teammates as well with some big results. Seth got a top 5. Donnie with a P6 as well, and Braden with P11. So overall, good result in top split for that. So good on those boys. Sponsors, who else? Peter. Obviously, let's look out for the animals. Come on, everyone, let's save them. Vegan Food Melbourne, check them out on Instagram, and Matt Danson 30. Get around that on Facebook, Instagram. Just quality content right there. Let me tell you. But that's about it.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. And hopefully we talk to you up here in the NIS booth in the not too distant future.
Thank you.
Good job today.
Appreciate it.
Oh, that was your second place getter, Matt Danson. And Sam, I think we'll drag in Zach Novak as well. Samuel Ryman standing by with your third place getter.
Yeah, Zach, congrats on a third place finish after starting all the way back in 26. That was a heck of a ride. But at the same point, you were one of the fastest cars at the end there and just a couple of seconds shy of a win.
Yeah, the car was pretty good. We really didn't put too much time into it, so coming in to run that good is pretty nice. I think I just got held up a little too much there on that last run. Just I didn't get through the slower cars on the older tires as smoothly as I probably should have, and that cost me some time. But overall, pretty happy with the car, how it handled. Fun race, fun to go green there, and with how much throttle we have in the cars right now at this track, it was still really really fun having to wheel it. People were tight, loose. Nobody it seemed like nobody really had a good car really in terms of handling. Everybody was struggling with like I said, tight or loose. So everybody was having to wheel it one way or another.
Yeah, can you talk about how difficult a race like this is? Where we have this high track temperature, and that the significant tire wear, and I'm sure that all came into your mind when you planned that strategy for the final stint, where you made an extra pit stop, but that obviously had its benefits. How much adjusting did you have to do on the cars during your pit stop?
Yeah, I actually made an adjustment after that first really long run we had under green flag stops. And then that second run, I really wasn't happy with it, so we pretty much went back on it fully. And so on that last run, I made a few adjustments, but I was pretty much on the same car, I guess you could say, that I started the race with. We really didn't swing too far on adjustments, and I liked the balance of it from the start, really. So, uh, the track warranted people either having to swing very far on adjustments, or a lot of people I would expect could just keep it how it was at the start of the race. And um, with the tire wear, there's so much grip at the beginning of the run, and then once you hit like lap 15 or 20 or so, all that grip is gone at that point, and it's really tough on the driver being able to adjust to that quickly and not giving up time by taking too long to adjust to it and whatnot. So, like I said, it was a really really fun race. I'm really glad we could go green that long.
Well, I'm glad it was fun for you. It was fun for us as well, watching you carve your way up through the field. Any final thoughts before we let you go and celebrate?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. It's pretty cool to get some attention on the NIS races this year. I know the participation last year wasn't great in this series, so getting the broadcast on it is really cool. It gets guys like me and Ray and Jimmy to want to come out and do this, and just get a little extra TV time for our sponsors and stuff. It's always fun to come and race NIS Open, A Open, stuff like that. So thanks to you guys for doing that, and just want to thank everybody at Lockdown Racing for all the hard work on the cars. Really excited for Homestead this week coming up. I think we got a pretty good car. I think there's a chance we can come back from starting off the season not too great. And yeah, just thanks to everybody that watched, and yeah.
That's all right. We appreciate you coming to talk to us, Zach. We agree with you. It's great seeing fantastic participation for the series. Pretty much 400 people signing up for this Friday evening open race. That's fantastic. Thanks again for coming to talk to us, and congrats on your third place finish.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that was your third place getter, Zach and Novak. And who else we got? Let's grab Will Norton or Garrett Maines. Who do you reckon? Will Norton. Norton came fourth. We'll give it to Norton. Will Norton, fourth place today. Well, it was a roller coaster ride out there. At one stage, I thought you had it in the bag. At another point, I thought you were going to be short. Then I thought you had it again. I mean, that strategy game was pretty crazy out there.
Yeah, it was really up and down for me. I was trying to. You saw Vegas. You would try to pit before because you'd be able to hold people off long run. I was pitting maybe a couple laps after because I'd have the extra speed to be able to get people. Second run, I really kind of hurt myself there because I was driving too hard, put myself on the wall a couple times. I think if that hadn't happened, I'd have a better chance. And then third, I think third was the final run. Driving pretty good until once I saw Shearburn behind me. He caught me fast, and then he got above me, and my car was just too loose to hold him off. Then Novak got to me, and I was too tight to hold him off.
Yeah, it was. So it looked like a struggle out there to pass at times, and then the strategy game was crazy, as I said, when you got drivers out there on fresh tires and guys on old tires. In terms of just passing, when you have got an even car, maybe in the first end of the race, how was the passing out there? We heard Matt Danson say that it was very tough. Were you finding the same thing?
First run, I was kind of just sitting around, but I couldn't gain any time on the leader. Like, I think between first and second, especially, you'll see a bubble where you can't get to them. I think once you like second on back, maybe a little easier, but even then, it's still tough, and even more so in fixed.
Yeah, it certainly is, and got to make sure you stepped out with the track as well, changes in the pit box and whatnot. You led for a bit of this one. In terms of you came home fourth, you qualified fourth. Meet your expectations for today? A bit disappointed or a bit happy, or how do you feel after fourth today?
I don't know. It's kind of weird because I came in expecting top 10, and then later in the race, I was expecting to win. So on one hand, I'm happy because I definitely met my goal and even extended that a little bit. But at the same time, I was so close to having the win. So there's a little bit of disappointment along with the excitement, but overall pretty good.
Well, the good news is there's still 30 weeks left in the season, so you've got plenty more opportunities to come and get this win here on a Friday night. Hopefully we see you back every single race, or as many as you can make, because you've certainly been making some waves in the last few rounds. Before we let you go, who are the sponsors that you want to give a shout out to, and any people you'd like to thank?
Gotta thank Nexus Esports, specifically Robert Miller, James Mullins, and Stephen Massey. They made an awesome set. Hopefully he'll be keeping it up next couple weeks and on. I'll be back every week for NIS Open.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you for joining us in the booth, and hopefully we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Your fourth place getter today, and Eve's down there, so why not? Let's talk to Garrett Maine, standing by with Samuel Ryman.
Yeah, Garrett, congrats on the top 5 finish today. However, I think you might have wanted a little bit more than that.
Yeah, down to the end, I kind of knew that top 5 was the best I was going to get. I was just trying to hold on to it. I think I made a mistake on the timing of the pit stop. I probably would have been better off pitting 1 or 2 laps later on that last stop. I just it came down to I was too tight and I didn't loosen it up more on that stop, which really bit me because I was having to lift coming off the corners every time. Like, regardless of how I drove it, I had to lift, and it was just killing my runs off the corner. But, I mean, other than that, the car was really solid. I just didn't have enough time to really tune it to the way I liked it, and throughout the race, I was just kind of putting Band-Aids on it. But overall, I mean, top 5, definitely happy with that tonight.
Well, we were just asking Zach Novak about that a moment ago. He said his car finished with a similar setup to what it started the race. How difficult is it, though, even in the iRacing world, to end the race with a setup that you're happy with when you only have a couple of chances to adjust it because we only had one caution today?
Yeah, that really made it tough. I knew starting off the race I wasn't going to be where I wanted. I knew that going in. And that really showed, unfortunately. On that first run, I was really struggling to keep with people. I got that one, it was like a netcode contact between somebody on my outside, and it like literally launched me down in the apron. And from there on, like I had to dig out of a hole. I lost that track position right away, and it just kind of made the tires hot. And from there on, I was struggling with it. And that first stop, I made the only adjustment I really knew that I'd not come to regret later. It just wasn't enough. You know, I never really piled on the adjustments the right way throughout the race, and I ended up, just a little undershooting it there at the end, and top 5 result instead.
Well, it's still a solid finish, and we got plenty more races to go throughout the season. Obviously, coronavirus not a threat for these Friday night races, so we hope to see you back out there. Anything else you'd like to say before we let you go and celebrate?
Well, actually, the coronavirus thing, that's kind of funny because I was supposed to be in Atlanta today, and that didn't happen. So that's actually why I'm here tonight. So that's kind of interesting. But I got to thank everybody at Legacy Esports, Butt Kicker, for all their support. Bobby Dale, Andy DeLay, Boyd Hogan, Chris Hill, Derek Runge, all the guys that have been helping. Michael Smith this week, big help. Just everybody that puts in the time over there. Couldn't do it without them. It's the best team I've ever been on. Just so happy to be a part of it.
All right. Well, if it's any consolation, Garrett, I was supposed to be in St. Pete this weekend, so I feel your pain there. But that's all right. We got to witness a great show here tonight, and we appreciate you coming to talk to us.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Your 5th place man today, Garrett Maines. And that brings us to the conclusion of another thrilling installment of the NASCAR iRacing series. Sam, thank you so much for joining us up here in the booth. It was a pleasure calling alongside you. All going to plan, we will have Sean Ambrose back in the booth with us next week. If not, I guess we might grab you back again. Sam, sorry. My name's been Ryan Jones, and of course Jay Kennedy behind the scenes as well. There's plenty more coming up on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure you drop a like if you enjoyed the broadcast. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and be notified as soon as it goes live. Make sure you go and like SimSpeed Esports Network on social media as well, and give us a subscribe on our YouTube channel, SimSpeed, as well, if you want to see more of our great broadcasts. But for tonight, from all of us up here, been a pleasure calling this one for you. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get involved.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go. Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?